प्रभुपाद के डिसाइपल हैं, और एक ऐसे डिसाइपल हैं, यूनिक डिसाइपल हैं, जो ऑलरेडी घर को छोड़ चुके थे जब प्रभुपाद से मिले, और प्रभुपाद ने उनको हरिनाम दीक्षा, प्रभुपाद के डिसाइपल हैं, और प्रभुपाद ने उनको हरिनाम दीक्षा, ब्राह्मण दीक्षा और संन्यास दीक्षा एक साथ दी थी। आप सोच सकते हैं कितने एग्जॉल्टेड डिवोटी होंगे वो। So I will just share the lecture with you. देख पा रहे हैं आप उनका चित्र, देख पा रहे हैं स्क्रीन पे?
Yes, Mataji.
And very powerful lectures, एकदम he was completely transcendental। और जिस तरीके से उन्होंने शरीर छोड़ा मायापुर में, उनको जगन्नाथ, वो उड़ीसा से थे, जगन्नाथ जी विशेष प्रिय थे उनको। और आई डोंट नो क्या था, जगन्नाथ जी पे ही क्लास दे रहे थे वो, और उन्होंने उनका क्लास देते देते मायापुर में शरीर छूट गया। वेरी वेरी you know we can see he was not an ordinary person। अनफॉर्चुनेटली हम जैसे लोग, मेरे जैसे लोग तो उनके दर्शन नहीं कर पाए, पर केवल सुना है उनके बारे में, उनकी कुछ बुक्स पढ़ी हैं। बट वेरी पावरफुल स्पीकर। ओके, पढ़िए माता जी।
Hare Krishna. At the age of 2 or 3, Krishna would go to the houses of the gopis and steal butter. The gopis were delighted to feed butter to Gopal, but they came to Mother Yashoda and made complaints. As Gopal grew up, his wickedness also increased, and every day Mother Yashoda would receive complaints from gopis. Your son Gopal steals. So Mother Yashoda became angry and she thought very deeply. Why is my son stealing? We have enough butter in our house. Why is he stealing from other houses? She thought, oh, I have engaged the maid servants to churn the yogurt to make butter. I have not made it with my own hands. Therefore, Gopal doesn't like it and he goes to other houses to steal. From today, I will do it with my own hands. So, with her hands, she milked the best cows available and then churned the yogurt and prepared butter. She woke up early, very early in the morning, and engaged in churning butter for Gopal. She was singing the glories of Gopal while hands were churning yogurt. The bangles on her wrists were producing a tinkling sound. Waking up and finding mother not there, little Gopal started crying. Yashoda called out affectionately, and Gopal came and tugged at her sari, asking for a feed. Of course, Mother Yashoda immediately embraced her dear son, and keeping him in her lap, she suckled him with while rhythmically pulling the strings of the churning rod and singing Krishna's leelas to herself. Desiring to enact another charming pastime, Krishna decided to break the sweet, cozy serenity. At this time, at a distance, mother had put a big pot of milk on the stove and the milk was boiling. It began to swell up and pour over onto the ground. Noticing it, Mother Yashoda immediately stood up and put Gopal on the ground and ran to take the pot off the stove. Displaying a transcendental tantrum, Krishna annoyed. One sec, Mataji, I'll just shut the door. Sorry. Displaying the transcendental tantrum, Krishna, annoyed at having been so unceremoniously dumped on the ground, and in his anger, he broke a pot of butter, which was recently churned, and quickly went to an adjacent room where he began to eat freshly churned butter kept in a pot there. After attending to the overflowing milk, Mother Yashoda returned and saw the big pot of butter completely broken to pieces. and the entire butter poured out onto the ground. She could understand that this was the work of her mischievous Kanha. And on the floor were his footprints. Tracing the footprints, Mother Yashoda saw Krishna standing on the ul- ulakh, a large, a large mortar of grinding spices. Standing on the mortar, he was stuffing butter hanging from a swing into the mouth of and also generously distributing the butter to the monkeys who had assembled in the meantime. Yashoda wanted to catch Krishna red handed. She quietly came from behind to catch him. When she came very near, he acted as though he had just noticed her and started running with his little feet patting the ground. Yashoda chased him with a stick to catch him. He, the god incarnate, whom yogis find hard to catch and concentrate on in their minds, can he be caught so easily? One minute he seemed close, so easy to catch. The next minute he was far away. When this went on for some time, Yashoda began to perspire profusely. The flowers decking her hair fell to the ground. Gopal was running, but not straight, but like a snake, running in a zigzag way. She became tired and her hair was all scattered. At last, mother's eye fell upon the reddish lotus feet of Gopal. Those reddish lotus feet of the Lord are the object of meditation of the devotees. She thought, oh, such soft feet. If they are pricked by some thorn, Gopal will get so much pain. With this thought, she became morose. When the devotee's vision is fixed at the reddish lotus feet of the Lord, he becomes captured. Gopal thought, now I'll be caught. Mother is very tired, so I'll allow her to catch me. In this way, Mother Yashoda caught him.
इतना सुंदर तरीके से डिस्क्रिप्शन हम देख सकते हैं. लाइक अ
Very vivid,
रसिक भक्ता.
very vivid.
Very beautiful. Beautiful.
पढ़िए.
Seeing mother in this angry mood, Gopal started crying. His earrings were shaking because of heavy breathing. His chest was moving up and down, and with his two palms, he was rubbing his eyes. There was a black ointment that mother had put on his eyes, and this ointment had become smeared over his black face and the red palms of his
Black
hand.
face. Black face and the red palms of his hand.
And over his black face and the red palms of his hand, making it look even more beautiful. Sorry. The Supreme Lord, who is fearful to all demons, was crying out of fear. Seeing the cane in his mother's hand, thinking that her child was truly frightened, she threw away the stick. She, however, decided to chasten him so that he would not repeat it. She said, all right, I will not beat you, but I am going to tie you to this mortar. Let me see how you will do any mischief behind my back. Saying this, she went inside to get a rope for tying him. Holding him by one hand, she went off in search of a rope. Finally, finding a length of rope, she sat down and proceeded to tie him up to a tall, heavy mortar standing in the veranda, thinking he wouldn't be able to move from there for some time. Now, when the time came to knot the rope was just short by about 2 fingers. Finding another piece of rope, she tied it to the first rope and winding it around Krishna's belly, Dham, she to use up the
Sorry.
uh,
Sorry, I was trying to scroll up and it went back.
okay,
Yes.
हाँ जी. Uh, Finding another piece of rope, she tied it to the first rope and winding it around Krishna's belly. Now, to use up the slack, she tried to knot. Again, it was short by about 2 fingers. Again and again, she tried, and again, she found the rope too short by 2 fingers. Thus, poor Maya became very perplexed and tired, and Kana, seeing his affectionate mother hassled and perspiring, allowed himself to be bound. Being compassionate, he did not show her his unlimited potency. After Mother Yashoda bound Krishna, she chastised him soundly and rose to attend to her household work. Seeing her gone, Krishna soon got bored and observed two Yamala Arjun trees, which were actually Nalakuver and Manigriv, the two sons of Kuber, who had been cursed by Devarishi Narad to become trees. Remembering that Narad had prophesied that he, Krishna, would liberate the two demigods from the curse of Dwapara, he crawled towards the two tall trees, driving the heavy mortar behind him. By his causeless mercy, Krishna decided to fulfill his dear devotee Narada's words. Dragging the mortar slowly, he inched closer and closer to the two trees. Reaching the middle of the two trees, which were quite close together, Krishna crawled in between the trees and saw that the mortar was stuck in between, being too large to get through. He tugged and gave the mortar one forceful pull. There was a huge crashing sound as the two trees fell to the ground on either side of Krishna in an earth shaking noise. The whole of Vrindavan heard the crash and trembled, wondering what that noise could be. Mother Yashoda and all the household people ran helter skelter, trying to find Krishna through the dust haze that rose to the sky. Not finding her Kanu, she tied to the mortar, Maya almost fainted with anxiety. Just then, Nanda Baba also rushed into the house and found everyone in complete panic, crying and shouting and pointing to the yard. Running to where the dust was still thick and high, he found his beloved Kanha, apparently sitting peacefully in all the mess, two tall trees lying on either side of him. Unseen to any human eyes, the two demigods who had been liberated from their curse and assumed their original effulgent forms glorified and eulogized the Lord, and after paying their humble obeisances to him, had departed to their celestial realm. When the twin Arjuna trees fell to the ground, making a sound like the falling of thunderbolts, all the inhabitants of Gokul, including Nand Maharaj, immediately came to the spot. They were very much astonished to see how the two great trees had suddenly fallen. At the same time, they were very much perturbed because such uncommon incidents were always happening to the child Krishna. While the elderly cowherd men were thus contemplating, the small children who were playing there informed the men that the trees fell due to Krishna's pulling the wooden mortar with the ropes to which he was bound. Most of the cowherd men did not believe the statement of the children. They could not believe that such things were at all possible. Some of them, however, believed them and told Nand Maharaj, "Your child is different from all other children. He just might have done it." Nand Maharaj began to smile, hearing about the extraordinary abilities of his son. He came forward and untied the knot to free his wonderful child. After being freed by Nand Maharaj, Krishna was taken into the laps of the elderly gopis. They took him away to the courtyard of the house and began to clap, praising his wonderful activities. Krishna began to clap along with them. just like an ordinary child. The Supreme Lord Krishna, being completely controlled by the gopis, began to sing and dance, just like a puppet in their hands. It is natural for children to have this feeling of stealing. So, in his childhood days, Krishna stole butter. When he grew up, in his Poranga Leela, between 6 and 10 years of age, he stole the garments
पौगंडा लीला
for Ganda Leela. Yes, Mataji.
जो 6 से 10 साल की उम्र के बीच में होते हैं.
Yes. For Ganda Leela, between 6 and 10 years of age, he stole the garments of damsels of Vraj. And when he grew up a little bit, in Kishora Leela, his
कैशोरा
Kaishora Kaishora Leela, his boy- boyhood days from 11 to 15, he stole the hearts of the gopis. As Ishwar, as the Supreme Lord, he also steals the Pap Tattva, the sin
पापत्व एक्चुअली पाप
Pap,
पाप तत्व या पाप
हाँ, tat,
पापत्व. हाँ.
Papa, the sin and afflictions of the Bhaktas. He is the supreme thief, Chora,
एक
Gran Kanya.
चौर ग्रगण्य, इसको चौराष्टकम है उसमें भगवान को चौर ग्रगण्य बोला है, द सुप्रीम थीफ.
Okay. He may steal you, only you are not worthy of stealing. If you prepare yourself, if you develop pure prema bhakti, then Krishna will steal your heart. He is such thief. He is such thief, the supreme thief.
जैसे हरि, भगवान का एक नाम है हरि. हरि का मतलब होता है कि हमारे पाप को वो, हमारे पापों को वो चुरा लेते हैं और अपना प्रेम दे देते हैं. तो सो कृष्णा स्टीलिंग सो ब्यूटिफुली. आप देख सकते हैं कि कैसे जब एक शुद्ध भक्त स्टोरी डिस्क्राइब करते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है कि वो वहां पे प्रेजेंट हैं और वो इसको दर्शन कर पा रहे हैं, है ना. सो सो दामोदर अष्टकम का परपॉट दिया है महाराज ने, जो हम कल से पढ़ेंगे. अभी हमारे पास 5 मिनट ही बाकी हैं, इसमें हो नहीं पाएगा, एक भी श्लोका नहीं हो पाएगा पूरा, तो हम इसको कल से पढ़ेंगे. किसी को कुछ कहना है? इज इट ओके टू डू दिस? ऐसे हम कर लें दामोदर अष्टकम का हर रोज अगर 2-2 कर पाएंगे तो अगले 4 दिनों में हम कंप्लीट कर लेंगे दामोदर अष्टकम को मीनिंग से और परपॉट से जान लेंगे. ठीक है, ऐसे कर सकते हैं.
यस माता जी,
हाँ
बहुत
जी
अच्छा.
माता जी.
Wonderful, yes, ma'am.
ठीक है, सो वी विल स्टार्ट दैट फ्रॉम टुमारो. अभी आपने ये जो स्टोरी महाराज के मुख से जिस प्रकार से स्टोरी सुनी, आप जान सकते हैं कि महाराज इज नॉट एन ऑर्डिनरी पर्सन. ही इज कॉलिंग कृष्णा कानू, काना, लाइक दैट. सो ही इज इन द लीलाज, ही इज नॉट लाइक अस. वो उनका शुरुआत से ही, जब वो बचपन से ही, उनके बारे में आई डोंट नो इंटरनेट पे कितना अवेलेबल है, होगा ही वैसे तो, बट मैंने उनकी बुक में एक बार उनके बारे में थोड़ा सा पढ़ा है. तो उसमें वो बचपन, वो विवाह भी नहीं करना चाहते थे, बचपन से ही वाज लाइक अ साधु. एंड देन एट द राइट टाइम ही गिव अप हिज गृहस्थ आश्रम बिफोर इवन मीटिंग प्रभुपाद. So he is a very, very exalted devotee, and we will continue reading from tomorrow morning. Okay, thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी.